your girl Lisa, and I am back with another Reflections video. You guys, I have my boy B here with me. Hey, Mr. Parker. And I also have my cousin slash sister slash everything, Miss Gina. Yeah. And we are going to be talking about love and relationship after 40. So if you guys are interested in what we have to say, then just keep watching. I'm the only one with the energy.
Okay.
You introducing us. You doing a good job.
You was doing a great job. We was just gonna let you right on with it.
Okay, y'all keep watching. Okay, so today we are going to be talking to my cousin Gina about relationship after 40. Gina has been married for 16 years.
Yes.
Been with a gentleman for
22 years.
So you have plenty of wisdom to share.
I have a lot.
Plenty of wisdom to share.
I have a lot.
Yes, and at this time in life, they are going through a divorce. So all of us have been divorced. We're 40 and divorced, and we're just trying to get back into the swing of things. And so we want to help people who are at that stage in life where they may not know what to do, like where Gina is, like right in the middle of going through the divorce.
Yes.
Or like me, who has been divorced for a year and a couple of months and trying to get back out there and I'm not trying, I am dating. You see him. And just trying to, date with purpose and date in faith and all of that. And Mr. Parker, who has been divorced for a while and who has been dating for a while, and he just found his match.
Yep.
Bing.
Yep. I've been divorced over 6 years.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Been dating and all that. So it's a compliment to our relationship because it's us now. So it's like, I feel confident that we're going to really... us now. Yeah, I think we definitely moving in the right direction. I see a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
All right, come on, pot of gold.
Yeah. Thank you, babe. You're so sweet. But
I'm trying to get there. I just want to be in the number.
So we're gonna ask her a couple of questions just about how she's feeling at this stage in life. Not necessarily how did you get here, but now that you are here, how you feel about it, and maybe give us a couple of tips and give the people out there a couple of tips of how to deal with it.
I got a lot.
Yeah. How to deal with it.
Well, great. So, once again, like she said, I'm
Gonna throw you out there like that.
Yeah, just threw me right on out there.
Just go and get thrown out there and talk. Just start talking.
My soon-to-be ex-husband, we have been together for 22 years, like she said, been married for 16. What I can say is that it is hard. It is very hard. There are a lot of different emotions that's going in play. If you have kids, you got to not only deal with your emotions and feelings, you got to deal with the kids' emotions and feelings as well. What I will suggest or advise people, if they possibly can, is to try to remain friends through it all. Because it's hard enough, especially when you have that much time with a person. That's just like us growing up and growing old together. So it's almost like death. Somebody dying, a piece of you dying, because that's the person that you envision spending the rest of your life with. You have to grieve that. So there are different stages to leading up until divorce, and unfortunately we still have more to go because we have not yet signed those papers. So there's a whole nother process that I still have to go through. But in it all, we have still remained friends. Has it been good always? No. No. But we are at a point in our lives where we can talk about it. If there's a disagreement about anything, we sit down and we talk like two civilized people instead of being at each other's throat, because that's not going to get you anywhere. So I would say, like, for y'all, communication is key. You have to communicate. You can't have assumptions to think that I assume that this person is thinking this, or I assume that this person is thinking that. If it's something that you feel that is weighing heavy on your heart, that is bothering you, then just say it. Mm-hmm. Get it out, verbalize it, talk about it, and you should be fine. Keep other people out of your business, period, point blank, until the end. Because if y'all have a disagreement and y'all are into it, and she comes back, and I'm just going to use me for example because I'm her safe haven. Mm-hmm. But if she comes back and tells me, then I have my own preconceived notion about you. Right. Now, she may decide that, oh, she over it, she good, y'all okay. Mm-hmm. But I'm sitting over here like, nah, I don't like him. He did you like this, and
yeah,
you know,
she can forgive me.
Yeah, she can forgive you, but who's to say that
people that surround me,
exactly that
my
I'm,
circle,
which that's not me. You know, you.
Nah, you know, I like
that. But
I love it.
I know you got my back, Gina.
Yeah, for sure.
I love it.
Yeah. But that's what that is. So you protect it at all costs. Mm-hmm. First and foremost, God is everything. Mm-hmm. He is the head of everything. Mm-hmm. So let him be that. Once it gets to the point to where it's serious, I'm waiting.
Ooh, but somebody said, I'm like, it's kind of creepy. I feel goosebumps. Like I was like,
but
no pressure.
No pressure. Yeah. No pressure at all. But I know for us as women, sometimes we have a hard time submitting. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we are of the same blood, so. Dun.
But Gina, let me ask you this question before you get into submission. Okay. People oftentimes sensationalize and they emotionalize relationships to the point to where it's like they go in what I would perceive to be like a preconceived notion of it being like so perfect. Like you go into your relationship thinking like this is going to be a perfect situation. Uh-huh. We sometimes think like the best in situations and think about the best when it comes to dating and getting involved with somebody seriously. And so like for you to say it's hard, like actually getting in a relationship, it's not something we hear a lot. It's not something that we are often talking about in groups, but it's something that we all can agree that it takes work, and sometimes that work is difficult. Yeah. And so when you talk about how hard it is, and when that was like one of the first things you brought up, like what did you think? Like what was it about your experience building your relationship and marriage that made you feel like it being hard was something you had to mention as one of the first things?
For me, I can just say, starting out, of course, I had my oldest daughter. She was 3 months old when my husband and I met. So he came into the relationship loving my child like she was his own. Mm-hmm. And then over 6 years, we ended up having another baby. Well, I think in marriage, people look at it, like you said, as a fairy tale. Oh, I'm so head over heels in love with this man, or I love her, and we're just going to live this great life. But reality sets in. Yeah. Now we have 2 other little people that we have to deal with. You know, I'm taking care of, he's trying to provide, you know, and take care of the house. And then our time that we had together is now being divided and split. Mm-hmm. So we never took the time out to keep that dating factor going. So he started to lose a piece of himself. I started to lose a piece of myself. Not only that, when we got married, I was 25. He was 27. So who we were at 25 and 27 were not who we were when we got in our 30s. Mm-hmm. We're 2 totally different people. Mm-hmm. But because our lives were going so rapid, dealing with kids and dealing with work, we never took the time out to rediscover who we were.
So let me make sure I understand
each other. Learning each other, you know, every day, because it's something about you changes daily.
Yeah.
Something about you changes daily. You can like rice today and wake up tomorrow and be like, I don't want no more rice. Well, she go in there and cook rice, and you looking at her like, why you cook that rice? Well, you like rice. No, I don't like it no more.
Not today I don't. Not today I don't. You better pay attention. Okay. Yeah, not today. But you were saying,
making no rice. I'm not making no rice.
But you were saying that, like you say, you were basically saying, like, are advocating that the relationship should have a foundation of it being about the 2 adults or 2 individuals. Correct. Before you get to planning children or planning a family.
Correct.
So let me ask you this question. I just purely want your thoughts. Not, it don't have to be necessarily your experience.
Mm-hmm.
So as you date over 40 and as you date pretty much in today's time, like at any point, sometimes relationships doesn't work out. And people were engaged sexually and all that good stuff. They had kids along the way or whatever, but they didn't have that commitment in marriage. And ultimately, some of those relationships broke off and they didn't last to be boyfriend and girlfriend much longer. And also some of them, they just didn't get married. So in those situations where people have had kids by other people, but yet they aren't married and they're looking to date and move forward and date somebody else, how do you see that working when I agree that it's so important that if you can plan to be just like to build your relationship as the foundation is between the two adults, like that's the best way to be, because now you have a solid foundation and not just pushing your focus away. So in the instances where people are trying to move forward and they still have children involved, is there a way that you would recommend or suggest that they move forward in a healthy way?
It is. You're at this moment trying to blend two families together.
Yeah.
And what I would say in the dating process is that the both of you know your children collectively.
Yeah.
Or individually, excuse me. So then you come together and talk about your children together. Then you introduce the children. And then you start to build your own relationship with those children.
Right.
On your own.
Right.
She'll do the same with your children, and then y'all come together as a family. The whole time still praying, over the covenant, your relationship and those kids.
Yeah.
And for me, and I can even honestly speak for her because of how we were raised, we love kids. So I may not never know my spouse's kids, but in just conversation, I will develop a love for those children and not having even laid eyes on those kids through him. And then once I develop that relationship, it just makes it even stronger, the love that I have for them. Yeah. And y'all all sit down and y'all talk, and then you allow the kids space to express their feelings and their concerns and what they see, because they have a voice. Because they are you. Your kids are your arm. Her kids are...
They're an extension of who you are.
They're an extension of who you are. So, yeah.
Yeah, but in some cases where... and it happens. It's not the perfect thing to have to acknowledge, where one person may have children, another person have children, and they try to come together. But we have a natural tendency to be biased and a natural tendency to have a closer place in our heart for our own biological children.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's sort of difficult. Well, let me ask you this. Like, how do you blend a family together when you don't know, because as we mentioned, the foundation should be between the two individual adults dating.
Correct.
So the children aren't involved right away.
Correct.
But then you fall in love to the point to where you feel like there's a future that brings the family together, where you want to now meet the children. But what happens if how you treat your children may be differently the way you would treat somebody else's children? Not in your case, but
no.
But it happens. How do you date to make sure that in the dating process, the adult to adult process, that it doesn't that it's clear that before I introduce you to my kids, I don't want them to build bonds and get introduced to you. And then if I come to find out that you don't treat my kids the same way you treat your own kids.
This is the conversation that I think people should have before they even talk about marriage or anything. That's why I say communication needs to be effective, because you just made a great statement. The way we were raised may not be the same way somebody else is raised.
Because it could be the guy. It may be a guy that
be like, oh no, I'm spanking my kids, and he may be like, no, you ain't touching my kids. That's a conversation that needs to be had. Or I punish my children this way. Or I spoil my kids to death. Well, no, they need to understand responsibility. So these are general. That's why I said you know your children individually. So these are conversations that needs to be had, so that when the time comes for you to meet those kids, we've got all of the preliminaries out of the way.
Yeah, exactly.
So it shouldn't be, and I mean,
that's a word right there.
I mean, you would still have things to come up because they are just now beginning to know who you are. So of course, some kids are gonna test the waters to see how far they can push the envelope. If y'all are gonna stay together as a collective whole, or you're gonna be biased.
Yeah,
it's gonna happen. But if y'all are solid and y'all had these conversations, then at that moment, no matter what the kids say, what she say go. And if you have a discrepancy, then we're going to go to the bedroom and talk about it. We ain't going to talk about it in front of the kids.
And that's a good point. And I wish I can dive in and get and talk there, but I want to, fast forward up to where you stopped, where you were making a point about submission. Yeah. And I kind of reverted back because I wanted to kind of like ask a few questions based on some things you had mentioned. But I'll let you finish your point on submission because I think that was a very good area to start because it becomes such a difficult area for us.
It is. It's a very difficult area for men and women because for some men, I can't say all, they think, oh, that means you're supposed to do everything that I tell you to do. Not at all. And so we sit over here with a whole but the thing about it is, first and foremost, in the dating process, you need to listen to God first to see if God even told you to follow that man. Because sometimes we following people that we ain't even supposed to be following.
Come on now.
And so we get stuck and caught up in these situations, and then we looking back like, why am I here? Mm-hmm. And God said, clearly, I did not tell you to follow that man. Yeah. But we have choices. So he say, go on, handle that. And when you get tired of being in your own way and get out the way and let me handle it, then I'll take care of it for you.
That's right.
So that's the first thing. You have to know if that man, that man is the man of God that he has placed in your life in order for you to follow him.
Well, let's keep it real. Mm-hmm. How would you know that a man is actually a man of God? I know it sounds like it should be obvious, but
it's not obvious because God speaks to people in different ways.
Yeah.
Some people say, "Oh, I hear this voice," or it's a sign. It depends on your relationship with God, how you communicate with God. God will show you who that man is in your life. Perfect example. I'm going to use you and Alicia. You kept saying that her picture kept coming up on.
Look at God. I already know where you're going. I want to. What an organ! I'm about to catch the Holy Ghost. No, go ahead.
On the internet, on Facebook, and y'all have been talking for a while. How I knew that she was listening and following God. I knew nothing about you.
Yeah.
I know everything. I know everything. I knew nothing about you. Mm-hmm. Nothing. So when she told me, I was like, okay. So she began to tell me more about you. And I'm like, okay. So then I just begin to watch. I don't say much. I sit back and I watch. And I called her and I told her, he's the one.
She sure did.
Yeah. I said, he is the one. And she was like, no.
Do I do all that?
I don't know.
Now I get the real.
A lot of energy.
Yeah. So, but she did. She was real reserved. And I said, Alicia, he is the one. But I knew. It was little stuff. You pay attention to details. Mm-hmm. Little, minute things. And some people think that it has to be these great things. You got to buy me this or you got to go through this. But if you know that I like a package of gummy worms and a Dr. Pepper, I would take that over anything else. Then you know my heart.
Mm-hmm. You just spoke to my heart.
See,
and that's exactly where we are because, we can go through the phase of like being attracted to each other, the romantic honeymoon phase. We've gone through many different phases in our relationship already. And but right now it's to the point to where we want to really focus in and forensically look at our core values. Like where is it that we want to go? Because I'm not a bad guy. At the end of the day, I'm well intended. Otherwise, I wouldn't be out the way I am and expressing myself. And but my thing is, it's like I want to know like exactly like what do we want in life? How can we come together as one? How can we agree now? Because marriage doesn't necessarily start when you say I do. It starts now.
Yeah.
So we have to decide like, and I don't want to cut you. I know.
No, you're fine.
But we have to talk about in reality the things that are uncomfortable to some people to talk about.
Very
the things that disappoint you, the things that makes you happy, the things that does. I mean, just
you have to get all of that out. Like right now, it is key. It is core in your relationship. Just like the other day, and people don't talk about this. Oh, y'all, my eyes are watering. I'm sorry, excuse me. When she said she was sick, you 2 hours away. You came, took care of her, and went back. These are conversations that need to be had. Now, what if she gets to the point to where she can't take care of herself physically anymore? Are you willing to stand with her and take care of her through thick and thin, richer, poor, for better or for worse? Like, for real, when it gets ugly. If her and her kids are into it, are you going to be there and stand up and, you know, say, hey, right is right, wrong is wrong. Let's sit down. Let's have a collective conversation about this. Be that knight in shining armor for her. Be her covering and be her peace. The same as well as for you. You know, when you get down and you're hurt and you're out, she needs to be on beside you, praying for you and covering for you as well. And I think a lot of times people don't have those conversations. You know, what if we up today and tomorrow we lose everything?
Absolutely.
Are you gonna ride this out with me, or are you gonna be like, oh, I can't take this, I'm out?
And
I
that's
need
one.
to know
And
you can't provide enough for me,
Yeah.
or
Your credit score ain't 800.
And those are, and even going into that, people need to talk about that, because you know, you never know. For me, I think if it's genuine love and this is what y'all are wanting to do, okay, baby, your credit score 400. Ooh, all right, well, mine's 6. Well, you know what? We're going to gather all of our stuff. We're going to find a credit repair person, and we're going to get this credit repaired together, because we are in this together. So there is nothing too big and there is nothing too small that we can't do together. But if we're not on the same page from the beginning, it's going to be a disaster in the end.
And let me say, my trip down here, I knew prior to coming that it could be perceived as like, oh, that's cute, that's nice, that's, you know, like, I knew it could be perceived as that, but I think I owe it to her. I'm dating her seriously. So she said she was sick. I can take off from work. If I couldn't, I wouldn't have come, to be honest, you know, but she said she was sick, and I wanted to know, like, I've never seen her sick. So I wanted to know, like, some people say they sick and they just walk around like nothing is wrong with them. Then you find out they've been laying up in some type of corner, barely halfway alive. You know what I'm saying? And some people say they sick and it's just over dramatic. You know, and but I have to lay my. I was like, I need to lay my eyes on it to see, like, so I can get a visualization of what your definition of sick is, because I have to protect you at some point. If I'm taking on the responsibility of trying to be that primary person in your life, I have to take the time and the effort, no matter what it takes, to learn you.
Correct.
Because one of the core values of mine is, like, I value people. I don't value things. You know what I'm saying? So we can have goals to get cars and houses and all sorts of stuff, and that's fine. But as far as me, I'm going to tell you right now, if you marry me and you want to be with me, we can get all this stuff and work hard for it. But if we go to the doctor's office and they tell me, like, you need to, in order to save her, you got to give up this house, you got to give up this car, and all that money you put in, and all them years, and I'm going to drop it like that. Because I can live in an apartment. I can live in the back of my car.
Come on
and
now.
she might be mad 5 days. If it just give her 5 days, honestly, I'm not into material things like some people. I don't admire people who chase after material things, because I see through it. You know, a lot of times it's other things that they're running from, and they run to material things in the process. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So I'm not in great admiration when I see people having a lot of success in gaining things in life. My success in this regard is either me doing what I can to prove that I'm worthy of being her husband, because she has to say I do when the day comes for me to get down and say, would you marry me? And it should be some substance behind it. It shouldn't just be like something romantic. We videotape it and balloons and stuff, and everybody, it should be some substance behind it. Yeah,
it's got to be real.
Yeah, so that's where I was, and I don't want to go on and on, you know, talking.
No, you're
good.
But that's where I was when I came. I knew it could be perceived as being like something cute, but I was like, no, I need to know, like, her. And I just sat on the couch. She did her thing, and then I went home that same night, and I got everything I needed, and I felt like I was successful. But let me segue into this, unless you have something else to say. Dating over 40, with this whole the movement with women, and I have to watch how I say things. Y'all might hit me in the head. So. But let's say honestly like women sometimes date this day and time where they don't want men to do too much of anything, or it becomes a problem if you open the door, or if you want to do something nice. It's like, I don't want to say the Me Too movement, but all these different movements going on where you can't be chivalrous. Like, it becomes an insult to the person you date.
Well, I would
want to know
say
who that's.
No. There are
like, how
women
do you date?
who,
like, how does a man date now that we're flirting over and all these different rules?
Well,
and
it depends on the people, because there are a lot of broken women who are still broken. Let me just say that. So we have this wall up, we have this guard up to say, oh, that's cute, but what you really doing? What's your motive?
Yeah.
You know, behind what's your motive behind that?
But even if it's just
really,
like if I didn't even know you, even if I wasn't dating you per se, like, just for me to just like walk before you into a building and I don't even know you and you're a woman and I want to respect you. Sometimes women take offense to that, and there's no motive for dating
because of the simple fact of what they've been through or what they're going through. So a lot of them are still not able to receive that type of generosity. Some of them have really not even seen it. A lot of women don't even know.
Like, just being a man being kind without having a hidden agenda or a motive.
Think about, and this could be, but okay, I'm about to go here, but think about the little girl who was molested, and all she's ever seen is somebody hurting her, and so even in her adulthood, because she was molested at a young age, she ended up attaching herself to the same type of people in her adulthood. So she's never seen that. So for somebody to do something nice for her, it's almost like, what you want? What you want? Because nobody's ever did anything good for me. They've always taken it from me.
Well, so, they did good to take from me.
Exactly.
Like, that's what it led up to.
So what you want?
That's deep.
Yeah.
You kind of caught me off.
I know.
Because I think it's sad that we live in a world where the Bible says in the last days people will be without natural affections in Revelation somewhere. So it's important to have natural affection and natural interaction with people without a negative reason.
Correct.
And I know we all have an agenda behind what we do, but it doesn't have to be a hidden agenda. I have an agenda with Alicia. But is it a hidden agenda?
Not at all.
I trust that if I date her right, if I'm authentic, if I'm just being fair in everything that I do, I can care less if I put our relationship out on social media or if I date her or if people disagree with me. I know me. And like you said, I also understand that if she has some issues with me or if other people have issues with me, I don't always look at it as me being the issue.
Correct.
I have to remember that people have been through things like you mentioned.
Exactly.
And sometimes they impose their thoughts about who you should date and shouldn't date based on the mishaps in their life and the things they dealt with when it came to building relationships or their father or men in general. Yeah. So sometimes people give advice not based on being, like a Christian gift or anything like that. Sometimes they give advice based on their experience. You know what I'm saying? But I think it's a difficult world that I hate to even know exists whenever we can't just be kind and loving without there being a negative and also a hidden agenda involved. Exactly. You know, and I think one of the things when it comes to dating that I would probably just add is that in terms of men, because I can speak for men, sometimes we overdo things. Yes. When we see people, we don't always have as much as we claim we have. We mostly build ourselves up to be more than what we are. And usually things are financially. I think I told Alicia this one time, sometimes men will date you and they can only afford a 1-bedroom apartment. All they can afford is a 1-bedroom apartment. But because they care about you, they go through the extra effort to whatever that extra effort is to scrap up enough money or to just put in a lot of effort to just barely get enough to get that 2-bedroom apartment. Then they introduce you to this 2-bedroom apartment with all this effort behind it, and they never knew like what you went through to get there. And then when a woman come into the situation, she comes in not being appreciative because he's not opening himself up to say, this is where I've been, this is the honest truth of where I was, but I worked hard to get here. Now it's like she comes into a situation where it's a 2-bedroom apartment. And this is metaphorically. And so she comes in not being appreciative of the effort the man gave. And she says, well, I'm not used to a 2-bedroom apartment. I want a 3-bedroom apartment. This is nothing to me. I'm used to this. I've dated other men. I've done all this other stuff in the past where I've had all of this. And it's like he shuts down.
But his first mistake was trying to sell her a fantasy instead of giving her reality.
But sometimes, see, in the man's world, we learn to build things up. And it's only a fantasy if he's deceiving her into believing that he's going to do something that he know he's not capable of doing,
exactly.
Right? But if he works hard to make it happen, and he makes it happen, is it really making him buy into a fantasy? Making her buy into a fantasy.
But you sold her something else. You had your agenda. You know that you're going to get this 2-bedroom apartment. You're leading up to this. But when she comes in, she's looking at you that you have all of this money, you're doing this and you're doing that. But in actuality, in the reality of it, is you're working up to that.
Yeah. So
the conversation need to be had is, baby, I'm right here right now. But what I want for us is this 2-bedroom apartment over here. So I'm going to do everything that I can to get this 2-bedroom apartment instead of, let me just sit back here and work my magic.
But Gina, it happens all the time, though.
It does.
Incrementally, though.
It does.
Like, even with your car, like not mine. But even most people, like, if I meet a nice woman, you know, in my daily way of living, in terms of, like, how I'm going to just live, may drastically change the day I may decide to take her on the first date. If I didn't clean out my car, it's going to be clean that first date.
Yeah.
Or if I didn't dress a certain way, I may just dress a certain way. So it's always like people give their best effort in some way, but in this example, it would just happen to be that it was just like, metaphorically, it was like going from a 1-bedroom to a 2-bedroom apartment.
But that's where the conversations need to be had. This is when people really need
like being
to
transparent.
talk
Like,
and be transparent,
yeah.
like from beginning to end. You know what? My weed was on point today, but you know what? Later on today, something happened. So we about to go out here and Mom about to have this headscarf on. Like,
but you gonna do that from day one, though?
Huh?
Are you gonna do that from day one?
Yeah.
You're not gonna come on.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm raw all day, every day.
So you gonna like when you date somebody, it's truly you dating that person. Like truly, this is who I am.
This is who I am.
You don't do nothing. You don't do nothing to alter.
Me personally, I don't want nobody to see me with no makeup on. I want you to see me at my worst for me. Because if you can take me at my worst, you can take me at my best.
Yeah.
Period. So if you can't get past these lashes and this hair and can't rock, you know, and I pull my natural hair out and you be like, ooh, baby, ooh, yeah, that's a little rough. You put that back up, you know. Like, nah, I can't deal with that. Oh, okay, well, we know that you're not the one. Carry on.
Yeah.
Next poof, you know.
So
yeah.
If you date a man, do you expect him to have those same standards to date you, like for him to just be who he is?
I want him.
Or should he clean up? Or should he shave?
I want him to be himself. Appearance is not everything. I look at people's heart and their soul. That's my determining factor.
But you're not first attracted to the heart. You're not first attracted to the soul, right?
You're not.
So what draws you into wanting to know more about the heart?
I talk a lot.
But what if he, well, not even say ugly, but what if he doesn't appeal to you enough to even have a conversation? He has to dress himself up to have that conversation, to get your attention.
Not necessarily, because you never know what God is doing. Amen. And who he's bringing into your life. Some people will dress down just to see if you're interested in them, or if you're interested in what they have. One man can walk in there and look dirt poor and just start talking. He may be the richest man on earth. You never know. I conversate with people. I pull things out of people to figure out if this is what I want. Not only that, they talking, but I'm praying. So
is this something you feel like you've learned like over time?
It
or
is.
Was this something you doing? Like I know you've been married for a long time.
Lord Jesus, no, I wasn't listening to nothing that the Lord said.
Oh, Gina, preach to us now. This is the real type of ministry.
She said I wasn't doing
Like,
nothing
nah,
like
I was
that.
like,
in the
man, when
beginning.
did this Lord start setting the guidelines around here?
You
Let
weren't
me
doing
tell
nothing
you,
in the
I wasn't
beginning.
doing nothing that the Lord told me to do. Gina was in Gina's own way. Gina wanted what she wanted. God gave me all of the signs and the flags and everything else. And I said, now he the one. God said, okay, he is. Go right ahead. No.
If you gonna keep telling me
You
he the
you
one,
gonna
then
keep
he's
telling
the
me
one.
that he the one? He
Then
the one,
he's
baby.
the
Go
one.
right on out there. Go on
he's
out
the
there and
one.
let that bless you.
Alicia's
Yeah.
the one for me.
You can
Because I
have
told
it.
Alicia earlier, I said, I always know, like, I knew she was the one based on her purse size. you know, girls with them little purses, they just look, nah, you trying to look cute. The ones with them big old purses, every time you have a problem, they got a solution in their bag. They be like, oh man, I got a headache. They're like, hold on, I gotta take these Excedrin. Be like, dang, good looking. Or like, oh, I got something in my tooth. Yeah. She's yeah. I'm like, oh yeah. I can tell a woman that's ready for marriage. I can tell by the purse size.
By purse.
I don't look at them little.
You don't look at them
I
little
don't look
purse?
at no little purse people.
Oh, well,
If they got,
No, I don't look
if
at
they
no
got a
little.
little purse, they will.
I mean, I should be blessed if anybody give me attention, but at the end of the day, she got that big purse.
She got that big purse.
That's
I knew she was the one.
Yep, that's the
There's
one.
a lot of stuff in that bag. It's a never-ending bag.
Just start digging. Be like, oh man, whoa, I need to cut this. Like, I got a razor. Like, hold on, wait. And you start looking in there like,
Yeah,
what
it's a
got?
never-ending
It's like real
bag.
dark in there.
It is.
It's a
It is.
never
It's
ending
key.
bag.
Be going to the sunken place. In that bag.
So Gina, I'm gonna ask you this question: how do you feel right now at this point, at this stage in your life, going through a divorce? How do you feel? How do you feel? How do you feel about going through the divorce?
I'm happy, believe it or not, because we are in a good place. It's a mutual decision. There is no blaming one person for anything. He had his faults in the marriage, and I had my faults in the marriage. And I think that's one thing that I can appreciate, because most times when people get divorced, nobody wants to come together and say, you know what, I'm sorry for my role, for what I did in this divorce. No matter what it was, no matter how long it took, no matter what, roller coaster ride y'all was on in that marriage, because Lord Jesus, I was on a lot of them.
So was
I. But she was right there. She was right there with me. But at the end of the day, we both decided that was the best decision for us, and we could remain friends. So to this day, which after today, there's going to be a lot of people that know. A lot of people still don't know that we're even divorcing, because
and maybe they don't need to know. Maybe they just need to see how y'all interact. That's all that matters.
We still
like, y'all
interact.
relationship is still
we still go out to eat. Like, we went out to eat with our kids today, y'all. That was like the funniest thing ever. But the kids was laughing like, "Oh, y'all are so cute," and we was like, "Come on now, stop that. Y'all already know, ain't nothing." But it's even good to know that our kids have even healed from the situation.
Exactly.
But it's a reflection of how y'all deal with each other,
exactly,
too. And how y'all dealt with the situation.
Yeah, because it was rough. It was rough for all of us in the beginning. The kids was going crazy. We were going crazy. The whole 9 yards. Everybody was
crazy.
Yeah, even you.
Crazy.
But we overcame that. So right now in my life, I'm happy. I know that final day when we go and sign those papers, it's going to be hard. But even in that day, we both have decided that we're going to walk away. We're going to go out to eat. And we're going to hang out and just celebrate life.
I have a question for you. And I'm going to let Alicia close us out. But do you have any regrets? And once you divorce and go through the process, is there any specific boundaries that you never cross once you divorce?
I do not have any regrets about anything, about being married to him, even about going through this divorce. It made us who we are today. If we did not have the trials and the struggles, we would not be who we are today.
Right.
And I feel that where we are able to minister to other people who are going through some of the same things, because how can you help somebody if
And
you've
you've
never been through it?
Exactly.
So I'm grateful. I'm grateful
You
grateful
felt the
for
ministry
everything.
in it all.
I did.
Isn't that a blessing?
I really did. And I'm willing to sit down. I am an open book. I will sit down and talk to anybody who would love to, you know, pick my brain, you know, just to ask questions, or even if you're just trying to heal and get past it, or want to know how to get past, you know, and build that relationship so that you can be friends at the end. I'm willing to do that.
Yeah.
So there are no regrets. What did you say? Because I
Boundaries.
boundaries.
Is there any specific boundaries?
With he and I, we've always had boundaries.
Yeah.
So we'll always be the best of friends because we were best friends for a year even before we dated.
Yeah.
So that we will always have. But he respects me enough and I respect him enough that if somebody else comes into the picture, we'll kind of fall back until we're introduced, if the other people are wanting that. Because for me, family is important. I don't just throw people away. That man will forever be a part of my family. I will forever be a part of his family.
Right.
If we all collectively come together and say, okay, we can handle this, then that's what we do, because we still have kids, you know. So I try to keep involvement with everybody. We all gonna be on the same team. Now, if he say, oh, she ain't with that, then hey, y'all have a nice life. I'll talk to you for something concerning our kids. Other than that, bye. You know, same with me.
So
you know, so we have respect for each other, and whoever we're with, we give them that same respect as
and
well.
you can be around people for an understand physically and enjoy them because you do have a relationship that's not dysfunctional all the way around.
Correct.
But yet know that those boundaries do exist, and you don't have to be something that you shouldn't be.
Exactly.
And you don't have to be emotionally enslaved by a situation you've been in when you understand why you want a divorce. But and it works for you.
It works for us.
Yeah.
So how soon do you think after the divorce you should date?
I don't put time limits on anything. I don't put time. You can't put time on God. Period. It's just how I feel about that. We've been separated for a while, so we've had time to heal, to go through some things. Me myself personally, I have begun to discover things that I like and I don't like. I've dated myself, so after the divorce, I could be right on out there. Hey, how y'all doing? How y'all doing? You know, I'm not rushing anything. I will take my time because I do know my worth. I know what I want. I know what I don't want. And these are conversations that whoever comes into my life, we will sit down and we will have. And either you check off the list or you check out the door. One of the two. I dealing with that. You know, I've been through enough. Because my thing of it is, everybody deserves happiness. Whatever it is, whether you're single and happy or you're truly out here looking for love and you want to be happy and in love, do what's right. Do what makes you happy. Life is too short. People are dying every day. And I would hate to leave this world not happy.
And that's a major thing. That's the biggest contribution you can make to this video, is to say, like, you know, just pay attention. People are dying. Like,
yes.
And sometimes people need the courage to just say, you know, I can do this, and it's okay. And if they need to, they can read their Bible.
So are you looking forward to love after divorce?
I am. I have a big heart. I love love.
You didn't put up a wall yet? You know, we usually put up a wall.
Yeah.
No.
Are you gonna be wide open to love, or are you you're not gonna have a wall at all?
I will be watchful. I will be praying. But everybody deserves a fair chance. I love hard. So that doesn't scare me. That doesn't scare me.
So opening yourself up and receiving love and giving love doesn't scare you at all. So you're excited about the next chapter of your life.
Write a book about it.
Yeah, also with that being said, we're going to cut it off right there. I want to thank you guys for being on my YouTube channel.
I enjoyed it.
As always.
Sorry about the watering eye over here. Allergies.
But I'm just happy for you. I'm so glad that you are happy. I'm so glad that you are whole and that you are okay. Because it's a long time.
It's
a
so
lot.
long.
Yeah, that was a long
like,
time.
It's my best friend, man. So it was rough.
Yeah.
But we are better.
Yeah, and there's a lot to go through. But you did it gracefully.
I did.
You did. You did it gracefully. Like you said, a lot of people still
don't
know.
know.
But now everybody's
gonna know.
And I do understand you coming from that position because I was the same way. I didn't tell anybody. Yeah. So when he popped up on the scene, everybody was like, what?
Where he come from?
Yeah, I thought you was married.
Yeah.
So I get it. So I understand you honing back and just taking your time, keeping it to yourself. I understand y'all being friends. I understand
that's
friendship.
My best friend.
Yeah.
Shut up. Bobo.
So with that being said, if you guys have any questions for Gina, leave a comment down below in the description box or in the comment section because she reads the comments.
I do.
And she will respond. So if there's anything that you want to know, like how she's feeling in the middle of the process of going through a divorce, maybe you're going through a divorce and you're in the middle of it and maybe you're just not this strong, maybe she can give you some tips on exactly how she got to this point of being strong. Maybe you and your spouse are not friends and you want to get to that point. She can help you with that because they are genuinely friends, as she has said. So don't be ashamed to leave comments and ask questions because the point of us doing these videos is so that we can help. We want to help. We want to have the discussions. Not only that, it helps heal us as well. Okay.
And we just want everybody healthy and whole. We want you to get to that place where you are whole and you're happy. So please, 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 please feel free to leave me any comments, questions, concerns, whatever. I will most definitely respond to it.
All right, and that is it, you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Go over to Instagram and check out Bryan and Alicia Becoming a One. If you guys just want to see us dating day to day, I don't know, funny clips and just our day-to-day life, what's going on with us daily when we go out, just what's going on with us daily. Go over there, subscribe to us. There will be a link down below in the description box where you can do that. All right, again, thank y'all. I love you both.
Yes, welcome.
I love you both. And that's
I love you
it.
too. I'm so busy
thank you.
All right, you guys. Until next.
Oh, we already stopped, didn't we?
No.
Oh, I forgot you want to do your funny parts. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. Peace.